How fasting could turbocharge your carnivore diet. Hi, I'm Tom, and this is my carnivore life. So, we like to think of fasting as something new that we've just discovered, but it's really been around ever since we've been on the planet. Our ancestors were hunter gatherers, so they would have followed animals and eaten the protein from the animals that they would have killed on a hunt. But animals weren't always available or they weren't able to get kills for whatever reason. So you might go 3, 4, 5, 7 days without anything to eat, especially during the months of the year when there is no vegetation available, if those people were in a more northern climate. Now, when they did get a kill, they would obviously gorge themselves, eating nose to tail as much as they could possibly eat off of that animal, including the bone marrow, because they didn't know when the next meal was going to be. So this notion that, fasting is something new really isn't now. Um, Voluntary fasting is something new. And for me, I've pretty much always been an intermittent fasting person because I really don't eat breakfast. Um, I just don't care to eat food in the morning. Occasionally I will if I'm in the mood for it, but most of the time, I'd say 95% of the time, I just don't eat breakfast. And there are several different ways to do intermittent fasting. The most common is the 16-8 method, which is fasting for 16 hours, eating in an 8-hour window. But you have 16-8, 18-6, 24, and then OMAD, which is one meal a day. So you'll only eat once every 24 hours. Mine is an 18-6, so I fast for 18 hours and eat for 6. Now, there are also fasts that are prolonged that can go, 24, 36, 48, 72 hours. And these fasts are the most beneficial of all of the fasting because what happens is once you hit about that 36-hour mark, your body begins to go into what's called autophagy. Your body wants to preserve itself, so it needs to be as efficient as possible. And so what happens with autophagy is your body begins to shed damaged cells within your body. And it then begins to create new T cells. In addition to that, because you're already on a carnivore diet, so you're using ketones and burning fat for fuel, that's going to turbocharge that fat burning because there is no fuel coming in. So if you really want to see the benefits of fasting, you need to do a prolonged fast to really get that turbocharged effect and get yourself, where you need to be. And, the fasting not only helps with weight loss, but it also helps with any metabolic issues you have. Again, because your body is getting rid of these damaged cells, and that's what helps the healing process. Now, an interesting study was done on people from the Depression era. So what they did was they put the people into two groups. One group was the people who had food scarcity, think grapes of wrath type people. Then you had the other side of the coin, which were people who didn't go through food scarcity. And what they found was the people who actually went through the food scarcity, their lifespan was 6.2 years longer than the people who didn't have food scarcity. So that kind of shows that if you're doing fasting, you're healthier and you actually live longer than someone who has a plethora of food available to them, or I should say, the people who eat food constantly. So by reducing the food that you eat and introducing these fasts periodically, you can actually extend your lifespan. And who doesn't want that? Unless you're eating a standard Western diet, and that extended lifespan is going to result in you sitting in a rocking chair on a front porch with a diaper on. Nobody wants that. But if you're wanting a healthy, extended life where you can enjoy your retirement years and not have to worry about being on tons of medications, then you might want to think about fasting as a tool to put in your carnivore tool chest. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like, subscribe, leave me some comments. Have you tried fasting? And if so, what were your results? And as always, have a great day.